All right, I think we are on to the world of RBD here. Looks like the next one we have up is adding metadata mechanism to LibRBD, and this is Hamais. So, did you want to give us an intro to your blueprint?
Yeah. This BP is merely slow. Sorry, let me have a break. 1 minute. This BP at the metadata instead to LibRBD mainly through one problem is that we can't make a different use case of RBD volume. For example, we may want to different read hand config view or different cache size or different cache method module. So this BP mainly slow that we can configure each image use different config view. So it may be that benefit for other config view introduced by RBD. For example, that Proves discussed SLN IO, another word SIO, will use some config view that kernel RBD will introduce. So kernel RBD can use metadata as config view key pair, and the BP discussed later that RBD client, kernel RBD client will support copyright. It's also need to introduce some config view. So maybe we can let this config view link to metadata. So each RBD image can have some self-defined config view, and we don't need to concern the config view, the self-conf this introduced. So do you understand my meaning?
Yeah, I think I understand what you're saying. I think it makes a lot of sense to have this kind of thing, especially for these new things like copy on read, which we might want to configure on a per image basis. And it's hard to get these settings passed down through many layers that might be managing a virtual machine, for example. Keep those settings consistent across different runs and in different environments, perhaps if you're using it in different places.
Yes. And we may want to that the whole image use the same metadata, and the snapshot also will don't have all metadata, and it will use the image metadata. And if clone happened, we will move all source images metadata into the target image metadata. So we can just use OMAP key values linked to the handle of RBD object. So the implement will be simple, and we just need to do that where image open. We need to aware the metadata with the configure val already defined.
Yeah, I think it makes sense to store it in OMAP in the header, like you said. And we were thinking that you could have like just generic key value pairs that you might want to associate with the image that wouldn't be configuration as well.
Yeah.
So for some like other management layer that might want to store extra data there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. Maybe have like a certain prefix that we use for the ones that are treated as configuration values. Like
yes. So more RBD features or following config views can add it directly into metadata defined configuration list, and we can aware this configure and for each different RBD client. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that makes sense. And like having these settings on these per image settings, like kind of override any other settings, will tie in well with the existing order in which things are like read. Like QEMU will read like Ceph.conf and any command line settings and set those before it opens the image, and then once it opens the image, it can apply these extra RBD image specific settings on top of those.
Yes, yes.
You would want to be explicit though about which ones are config options that RBD is expected to interpret versus those that are just random key value data that somebody put there because it was convenient.
Right. So maybe we just prefix them all with like RBD conf or something.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Probably want
just
to.
Yeah, I don't have other ideas. Yeah.
In terms of, I was also thinking that with like with mirroring stuff, so we would be wanting to do things on like a propal basis. It might be a good idea to have this kind of metadata stored on a propal basis too.
Yeah.
You could kind of have the same kind of thing, hierarchy of you apply the pool settings, then you apply the image settings.
Yeah, maybe we can store some mesos argument or flash position into the metadata. Yeah, it maybe make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I guess the other thing is that it's about like the kind of the interface to actually set and read these options. I guess we probably want a few different like RBD CLI commands. Like you mentioned the blueprint, like metadata get, metadata put,
And the metadata list.
and metadata list.
Yeah.
They could just take either a plain pool or for the pool level options, or like a pool and an image name for the image specific options.
Yes.
I think that would work.
Yeah.
Well.
Yep. And RBD info could just spit it out along with everything else.
Yeah, yeah.
Then you'd also have to have the command for doing the per pool setting also.
Right. So it might be the same. It could be the same command, or it could be just two separate commands. The same command could just take either only a pool name and apply pool settings, or a pool and an image name. Because there's like 5 different ways to specify like pool and image. So yeah.
Whatever. We have to figure something out. That doesn't quite work because usually you can omit the pool.
Maybe we just want them to be separate commands to be clear about exactly what you're doing then.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, what about pool config? RBD image config image get. It makes me nervous to like make this a generic thing where there's some magic about which keys the RBD clients are expected to interpret and which ones they ignore. Like having metadata sounds great, but I wouldn't mix the config options in there if some of them have clear semantic meaning and other ones don't. Or well-defined meaning. But, yeah, I don't know. It's up to you.
Yeah. I don't see a big problem with this having a prefix that's well known for the ones that are actually interpreted versus
Okay.
Not. I mean, if you really wanted to make it explicitly separate, we could have separate commands for metadata versus these config options. But I don't think I'm not sure that that's worthwhile.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Quick and easy,
Is it worth calling out the specific options that we want to understand?
I imagine it's all the ones that begin with RBD, as well as like things related to debugging and logging, and just other generic client options. There's so many of them that it's kind of hard to list them all.
Is it going to actually do Rados conf set on these?
Yeah, that's what I expect. It would be doing it internally inside of LibRBD. So it would only work with options that you could set at runtime.
Okay.
Before, after the IO context is configured.
But,
so it wouldn't
before the image is opened, probably.
Well, yeah, probably as part of the process of opening the image, it would apply the settings, right?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Cool.
Actually, that's kind of one question brings up. If you have these LibRBD calls to add these things, a lot of them probably wouldn't make sense or would be hard to do actually apply the setting at runtime. So we always want to have that caveat that these don't actually apply until you reopen the image.
Right. That seems reasonable. Okay.
All right. Is there anything else about this we want to discuss, Amai?
Approved.
All right.
Woohoo.